Okay, so I want you to close your eyes for a second. Just imagine you are standing right in the middle of Rome.
Oh, I like where this is going.
Right. It's late afternoon. The sun is hitting that perfect golden hour where literally everything looks like a movie set. The cobblestones are warm under your feet.
Yeah.
You can hear the chatter of tourists, um, maybe a Vespa buzzing in the distance. But cutting through all of that noise is a smell.
The food.
Yes, it's fresh basil, it's garlic hitting hot olive oil. It is the kind of scent that just stops you dead in your tracks and makes you realize you are absolutely starving.
It's a sensory experience that immediately grounds you. I mean, it pulls you out of your head, out of your emails and your to-do lists, and just slams you right back into your body.
Which is exactly where we need to be for this one. Today, we are taking a deep dive into a story called The Taste of You.
From the collection Whispers of the Shape of Love.
Exactly, by Abdullah Al-Khalifa. And I have to be honest with you, when I first picked this up, I thought, okay, chef meets critic in Rome. I was entirely expecting a Hallmark movie script.
Right? Little romance, little pasta, and then roll the credits.
Totally. But then I read the notes you send over, and this is way heavier than I expected.
It definitely masquerades as a romance, but it's doing something much more complex under the hood. It's really a case study on the psychology of self-acceptance,
Yeah.
the concept of taking up space, and the difference between a scarcity mindset and an abundance mindset.
Yeah, that taking up space theme really hit me. So, let's set the stage for everyone. We have our protagonist, Lucia.
Right.
She runs a trattoria called Quarry Isale Heart and Salt. And the description of her is just pretty vivid. She isn't your typical romance heroine at all.
Not at all.
She's described as curvy, confident, and unapologetically herself. But the really interesting part is that she didn't start that way, right?
No. And that backstory is crucial to understand her. The text implies she spent a large portion of her life trying to disappear.
Shrink, basically.
Yeah, she grew up with this constant external pressure to shrink.
Shrink how? Like physically.
Physically, emotionally, vocally, all of it. She was told to eat less. She was told to wear black.
Oh, because black is slimming?
You know the drill. Black is slimming. It's basically the uniform of invisibility for women who are told they're too big. She was told to hide her laughter because it was quote-unquote too loud.
Wow.
Essentially, she was trained to minimize her entire existence just to make other people comfortable.
That is just devastatingly relatable. I think a lot of people feel that pressure to just be a little bit less so they fit in better.
Oh, absolutely. Think of it like holding your breath.
Okay.
You could hold your breath to fit into a tight space or to keep quiet, and you can actually do it for a surprisingly long time.
Yeah, but you're suffocating.
Exactly. You are in a constant state of tension. You aren't living, you're just enduring.
Hmm.
Lucia spent her childhood holding her breath.
So cooking became her way of exhaling.
That's a really great way to put it. The kitchen became her sanctuary.
Hmm.
The source material says that when her hands were deep in dough or she had spices on her lips, that was where she reclaimed her joy in her body.
I love that word reclaimed. It sounds so active, like she had to go take it back from the people who stole it.
Because she did. Cooking, for Lucia, isn't just a service. It isn't just her saying, oh, I'm going to make dinner for these people. It's an assertion of her existence.
She's proving she's there.
By creating rich, heavy, flavorful food, she is validating her own appetite. Her appetite for food, yes, but also her appetite for life. She's refusing to starve anymore.
She's creating abundance.
Precisely.
So she's in her zone. The locals love her. She's the queen of her kitchen.
Yeah.
And then the vibe just completely shifts. We get our inciting incident.
Enter Emil.
Yes, enter Emil. And I have to say, looking at the description, this guy seems like a total cliche at first glance.
He is heavily designed to be the foil here.
Yeah. Emil is this wealthy food critic from Paris. He's tall, lean, wears an expensive coat that looks like it belongs in a glossy magazine.
He is the visual opposite of Lucia's warm, chaotic kitchen.
And his reputation is absolutely terrifying. The text says he's known for tearing apart restaurants with poetic cruelty.
Poetic cruelty. That's a very specific kind of weapon.
It really is.
It suggests he uses his intellect to distance himself from things. He dissects food. He doesn't actually enjoy it. He represents the critical gaze.
The societal voice Lucia has spent years trying to ignore.
Exactly. When he walks in, he's not just a customer. He is the physical embodiment of the judgment that says, you are too much, you are too messy, you are not refined enough.
So he sits at the corner table. The tension is incredibly high. Lucia is nervous. Her heart is pounding beneath her apron. This is the moment where she could just retreat, right?
She really could.
She could send out a waiter. She could hide in the back by the ovens.
Or she could try to change her cooking to impress him. She could try to make something delicate, tiny,
Yeah.
refined.
But she doesn't do any of that. She decides to serve him herself, and she brings him the works. I want to dig into this menu because the author lists these dishes so specifically, and I feel like they aren't just random choices.
They absolutely aren't random. What does she serve?
Okay, so the first course, nochi with lemon butter and sage.
Stop right there. Gnocchi.
It's heavy.
It's dense. It's potato dumplings. It is literally heavy, and it takes up space in your stomach. But then she cuts it with lemon butter acidity and fat.
A perfect balance.
It's a balance of richness and brightness. It's not a side salad. It's pure comfort.
Then the next course is stuffed zucchini blossoms with goat cheese.
Again, messy.
Very messy.
You can't eat a stuffed blossom elegantly with a knife and fork without it falling apart a little bit. It demands your interaction.
And then the dessert. This is the one that really got me. Burnt orange panna cotta. And it's her mother's recipe. But why burnt orange?
Think about the flavor profile there. Burnt orange is bitter. Panna cotta is sweet and creamy.
Oh, I see.
She isn't serving him just sugar. She's serving him complexity. Bitterness and sweetness existing together. It's soulful. She isn't trying to impress him with molecular gastronomy or foam or dry ice.
She's just feeding him.
She is saying, here is something real.
So Emil eats, and the text makes a point that he eats slowly. He finishes everything. The silence must be just excruciating for her.
The silence is the battleground. He's stripping away his defenses bite by bite.
And then comes the moment he stands up, walks right into the kitchen, and this is where I totally expected him to say something like, oh, the acidity was balanced, or the texture was divine. Typical critic talk.
Right, technical feedback.
But he doesn't. He looks at her and says, and this is a killer line, this is the taste of someone who loves herself.
That is the pivotal moment of the entire story.
It's such a strange compliment, though, when you really think about it. Is he saying the food tastes like confidence?
He's saying that cooking is a transfer of energy.
Okay.
Think about it. If you've ever eaten food prepared by someone who is stressed or rushing or trying way too hard to impress you, you can almost taste the anxiety.
Yeah, it's tight, it's constricted.
Exactly. But Lucia, she has reclaimed her joy. She cooks with abundance. Emil, despite being this cynical, detached critic, is sensitive enough to recognize that what he just ate wasn't just calories.
It was self-acceptance on a plate.
He's tasting her psychology.
Well,
He's tasting the absence of fear. And that is intoxicating to him because, remember, he's a critic. He lives in a world of constant judgment. He probably starves himself, metaphorically and maybe literally, to fit into those expensive coats.
that makes so much sense.
He is encountering someone who has ceased to apologize for existing, and he is realizing just how hungry he is for that freedom.
Lucia's response is perfect, too. She just blinks at him and says, I've learned to, and Emil nods and says, I'd like to learn too.
And just like that, the entire hierarchy dissolves. He isn't the judge anymore. He's the student.
Yeah.
He's admitting a deficit. He might have the money, the status, the silhouette, but he doesn't have the one thing she has,
Yeah.
peace with himself.
So this kicks off the relationship, but it's not some whirlwind romance. It's quiet. Emil becomes a regular every Wednesday, corner table. And the text uses this really specific phrase, they fed each other.
Which is a beautiful, multi-layered metaphor.
Obviously, Lucia brings him food, but what is he feeding her?
He brings questions. He brings poems he's written about flavors and memories. See, Lucia has this immense abundance of feeling, but maybe she hasn't always had the exact words for it.
So he gives her the vocabulary.
Emil gives her language. He validates her art with his intellect, and she validates his humanity with her nourishment. They aren't just flirting, they are filling the empty spaces in each other.
It sounds perfect, almost too perfect, which in any story means something has to go wrong.
Naturally.
The conflict comes from the outside world. The little bubble bursts. People start whispering. You know how it is. People are saying Lucia is too big, too loud, too bold for a man like Emil.
Right.
He's Parisian elegance. She's Roman chaos. People start scoffing at the pairing simply because they don't match visually.
And this is exactly where the trauma resurfaces. This is the relapse. Lucia has built this fortress of confidence in her kitchen, right?
Yeah.
But out in the world, at a cocktail party or a gallery opening, standing next to Emil, she starts to internalize those whispers again.
She starts to feel like she's taking up too much space. There's a specific scene the outline mentions, a party. I imagine this as one of those incredibly stuffy events where the Waiters are passing around tiny, complicated hors d'oeuvres that you can't actually eat.
Exactly. A room full of people who are holding their breath, to use our earlier analogy, and Lucia is the only one exhaling.
Someone makes a rude comment. The text doesn't say exactly what, but we can guess. Something about how she doesn't fit in. And Lucia spirals. She confronts Emil later that night. She tells him, you know, people talk, that I'm not the kind of woman people expect next to you. She is basically giving him an out.
This is a classic defense mechanism. It's self-sabotage. She is terrified that he is going to wake up and realize she's too much, so she tries to reject him first.
Before he can reject her.
She's projecting her own insecurity onto him. She wants him to validate her fear so she can go back to being alone, which is safer.
She's waiting for the critic to come back. She's waiting for him to tear her apart like he does the restaurant.
She's waiting for him to confirm that she should shrink.
But he doesn't. And this leads to the climax of the deep dive. Emil looks at her. She's flushed. She's fierce. She's upset. And he delivers the line that I honestly think defines the whole book. He says, Lucia, you are a feast. Let them starve.
You are a feast. Let them starve.
Okay, I have to play devil's advocate here for just a second. Is that a little cheesy? You are a feast. It feels a little romance novel cover, doesn't it?
In isolation? Maybe. But you really have to look at the context we just built up. Think about her specific trauma.
Okay.
Her trauma is about too muchness. Her trauma is about consumption, being told to consume less, to be less consumable. Emil uses her own language, the language of food, to reframe the insult.
How so?
A feast is too much by definition. You can't finish a feast alone. But a feast is desirable. It's a celebration. It's abundance. He isn't saying, no, honey, you look skinny.
Right, which would be a terrible response.
He's saying, yes, you are a lot. You are a massive amount, and that is exactly why I want you.
Okay, when you put it that way, it hits so much harder.
And the second half of the line is even more important. Let them starve.
That's the boundary.
It's a violent rejection of the world's opinion. He is saying, if the world has a scarcity mindset, if the world wants tiny portions and shrinking women, then the world doesn't deserve you.
Wow.
The world is the one missing out on the meal. It completely flips the power dynamic. It's not, oh, I hope they accept us. It's, if they can't handle the banquet, they go hungry.
That's actually really powerful. It's reframing being too much as being more than they can afford.
Exactly. It heals that specific wound Lucia has carried since childhood. He is giving her permission to expand, to take up all the space she needs, because he is right there with a fork and knife ready to enjoy it.
So after this declaration, the story gives us a glimpse of their future. It's a montage. They travel. They host dinners under olive trees. There's a beautiful detail about them making love with basil still on their fingertips.
Which circles right back to that sensory grounding we talked about at the beginning. They're living a life of sensory fullness.
And the text specifically notes that the relationship wasn't about fixing each other. It was about tasting life fully. She taught him to eat with his hands, literally getting messy. And he taught her how to let someone care for her without feeling the need to shrink.
That distinction, that they weren't fixing each other, is vital.
Yeah.
If he was already whole, she just needed to be seen. Emil was successful, but he was empty. He needed to be filled. They complemented each other.
I want to zoom out now. We spent a lot of time on Lucia and Emil, but I want to talk about the author, Abdullah al-Khalifa. This story is part of Whispers of the Shape of Love. Is this feast energy typical of his writing?
It is, but in a very specific way. Al-Khalifa's philosophy is often described as quiet love. In the author's note for the collection, he mentions that love doesn't always live in the grand public gestures. It lives in the silence.
Which is interesting because you are a feast is a pretty dramatic line.
It is. But notice where it happens. It happens in private. It's an intimate reassurance. The author is pushing against the modern idea of performative love. You know, the Instagram captions, the big public proposals.
Right.
This book argues that the most profound connections happen in the unspoken bonds.
Like the silence while Emil was eating the panna cotta?
Exactly. That silence wasn't empty. It was full of communication. He didn't need to post a review online for her to know he understood her. Al-Khalifa writes about the cracks in our daily lives where love actually grows. It's not the fireworks, it's the fireplace.
The source material highlights a few key takeaways from the book, and I want to run these by you to get your thoughts.
Sure.
The first one is true love expands your world. It doesn't ask you to fit into one.
That is the core message of the Lucia story. If you have to amputate parts of your personality, your body, or your joy to fit into a relationship, it's not a relationship, it's a cage.
Yeah.
A healthy relationship should make your world bigger, not smaller.
Here's another one. Confidence comes from knowing you are enough, not looking like everyone else.
That's the hardest lesson to learn. We are biologically wired for social mimicry. We want to blend in to be safe. But Lucia's power came from standing out. Her brand, if you want to call it that, was her absolute authenticity.
And the final one, which I think is my favorite. The right person craves the whole partner mind, soul, and body.
And that includes the parts we are deeply insecure about. Emil didn't just tolerate Lucia's boldness or her curves, he craved them. They were the specific nourishment he needed.
That's a great way to look at it.
It suggests that our insecurities might actually be our greatest assets if we just find the right context for them.
It's a really refreshing perspective. Usually on this show, we are tearing apart complex data or history or tech trends. But unpacking a story like this, it feels different. It feels like we're unpacking our own baggage a little bit.
Well, stories are data too, right? They are data about the human condition. We consume stories to simulate experiences, to figure out how to live.
That's true.
This story offers a blueprint for how to inhabit your own life more fully. It challenges the listener to ask, where am I shrinking? And who is asking me to shrink?
That is the big question. If you are listening to this and feeling like you've been holding your breath to fit into a pair of jeans or a job or relationship, maybe it's time to exhale.
And if you want to read more of these kinds of stories, Whispers of the Shape of Love is the collection. It explores these emotional connections in lots of different contexts. The source notes say it's about love that lingers and changes us softly.
Changes us softly. That's nice. It's available as an ebook on Amazon Kindle if you want to check it out.
It sounds like a really great read for anyone looking to explore that landscape of vulnerability.
So, as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to go back to that central metaphor one last time. We live in a world that is constantly telling us to optimize, to minimize, to be efficient.
We are conditioned to apologize for our appetite.
Lucia spent half her life apologizing for her appetite until she turned it into her superpower. She realized that her ability to taste and create flavor was what made her her.
And by embracing that, she attracted the one person who could appreciate it. If she had stayed in the black clothes, hiding her laughter, Emil would have walked right past her.
He never would have noticed.
You wouldn't have seen the feast.
You can't be found if you're hiding.
And you can't feed anyone if your own plate is empty.
Listen, thank you for hanging out with us in the virtual trattoria today. I hope you are leaving this deep dive feeling a little deeper, a little fuller, and maybe a little hungrier for life.
And maybe thinking about having some gnocchi for dinner.
Oh, I am absolutely having gnocchi with extra butter. Before we go, I want to leave you with a thought to chew on. We talked about Emil telling Lucia to let them starve. In your own life, look at the table you're sitting at. Are you trying to shrink yourself to fit into a chair that's too small? Or are you waiting for the people who realize you are the feast?
That's the real question.
Thanks for listening. We'll catch you in the next deep dive.
Take care.